All right, we don't know what the hell's going on. We're live.
We're live.
Yeah, dude, we're having technical difficulties. We want to have in the C block. We're going to have Rex Cootermore doing Step Family Feud. Should be a good time. So he's going to figure. Rex is going to figure out a better arrangement. But we're going to get to what we had planned.
Yeah, we were gonna be questioned by Big Daddy.
Yeah. Oh fuck.
Or were we going to talk about raccoons first?
Talk about raccoons first, and then we'll read the raccoon thing first.
Apparently, a raccoon went on a rampage in Washington. Good evening, everyone. This is the Reverend Professor Mike Latoris reporting live for Tmvp, where we bring you news with more punchlines than your average raccoon has rabies shots. Tonight, we've got a real wild one for you from Kitsap County, Washington. It's a story that's positively rampant with rabid raccoon-related ridiculousness. Picture this. One poor woman hounded and harassed by just a handful of raccoons, but by what can only be described as a full-on furry fury. We're talking 50 to 100 of these pesky, pilfering predators prowling on her property, practically pounding on her door for their next meal. Now, I've had a few guests overstay their welcome at my place, but I've never had to worry about an army of aggressive animals scratching at my door like a scene from a nature documentary gone wrong. The woman had been feeding a few raccoons for years, and at first it was all fun and games, kind of like feeding pigeons in the park, but with more fur and fewer feathers. Then 6 weeks ago, it went from cute to chaotic when those raccoons invited all of their rowdy relatives to the feast. They multiplied faster than my ex's complaints after I forgot our anniversary again. These ravenous raccoons became relentless, scratching at her car, swarming in front of her door like furry little freeloaders. She couldn't even step outside without feeling she was the star of a raccoon rodeo. Now, I once had a squirrel break into my attic, and I thought that was bad. But let me tell you, this woman was practically being held hostage by these marauding mammals. Authorities said it was a nuisance of her own making. And hey, I can relate. There was that time I fed a stray cat in college, and before I knew it, I had 20 of them clawing at my window. Let's just say I learned my lesson. Kind of. The Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife reminded everyone that feeding wildlife, especially these troublemaking trash pandas, is a bad idea. They can carry diseases and invite even bigger, scarier creatures like bears and coyotes. The good news is the woman stopped feeding them, and the raccoons are finally starting to disperse. The
most dangerous animal in the entire wilderness is a middle-aged white woman.
Yes.
A middle-aged white woman will get you killed faster than bear, faster than Bigfoot. Middle-aged white women will get you killed.
Personally, I'd just give them my credit card and point them at the nearest Taco Bell. So if you ever feel the urge to feed a few furry freeloaders, just remember what starts as cute can quickly turn into chaos. Speaking of which, stick around because coming up next is everyone's favorite game. Guess who won the... No, not...
No, I think I fucked that up.
We already played Guess Who Won the Machete.
We already played that. Yeah, no, I made a mistake.
We will be playing the Step Family Feud with Rex Cootermore in just a bit. This is Mike Latoris signing off for TMVP, reminding you to keep your doors locked and your snacks to yourself.
Don't feed wildlife. Dude, it was the best when, because we used to go to the dumpsters.
Right.
Like in the Poconos, we'd take a drive to the dumpsters to see the bears. And you'd see the assholes from, New York come and, give them candy bars and shit.
Right.
And then just watch the bears just demolish their car. And we'd get out of there because once they start fucking with one car, they'll go to the other ones.
Right.
Because they think they have food. But it was literally I don't know if you guys ever seen The Great Outdoors, but I just watched that movie. That movie's fantastic. It's literally just like that scene where they go to see the Bears and John Candy brings a Zagnut bar and he tosses the Zagnut bar and it's landing on the hood and the thing it's on the hood. It starts licking the window. It starts peeling, trying to get in the thing. Oh, it's fantastic. But, that's what happens. And they talk to each other. They know how to communicate. And when there's food, hey, there's a goofy white bitch in the woods. Let's go get, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I didn't see a picture of this woman. She lives in Washington State and feeds raccoons. There's only one.
Yeah, it's a white chick that's 40 plus.
Yeah, that's it. That's all there's. But whether you're a white chick or I guess the Switzerland doesn't really have a lot of other. They're a very homogenized society.
They're very white.
Yes. Rex seems to be with us and functioning. Rex, can you hear us?
Yeah.
There it
All right,
is.
Rex is here and we hear Rex.
Kudamore in the house.
I had to downgrade my Wi-Fi because the show checks from the last time didn't come through.
Yeah, no, those are. I think I'm having technical difficulties. Oh no, can you guys hear me? Okay, I don't know if everything's. Anyway, what's the story, Mike?
Well, good evening, listeners. This is the Reverend and Professor Mike Latoris bringing you tonight's time-ticking toilet-themed tale straight from Switzerland, where the chocolate's sweet and the clocks are precise. And apparently, if you've got to go, you've got to clock out first. Yes, folks, a Swiss court has ruled that a watch dial manufacturer was totally within its rights to make workers punch out for potty time. That's right, no ticking off the toilet on company time. If nature calls, it's on your own dime. Now, this got me thinking about my own history with timed trips. I've had some harrowing bathroom moments myself, and believe me, I wouldn't have made it if I had to punch a clock before every pit stop. There was this one time I was caught in traffic on my way to the radio station. Let's just say the real race against time wasn't getting to work. I'll leave the details to your imagination, but let's just say my car still smells like an air freshener from 1992. But back to our chronological...
Did they have shit-scented air fresheners back in 1992?
They must have.
Okay, just checking.
Back to our chronological conundrum. This Swiss company's rule was uncovered during a surprise visit by labor inspectors back in 2021 during the pandemic. The court, however, says Swiss law doesn't really guarantee toilet time as a basic right. I mean, what's next? Should we punch out every time we sneeze? Clock out for a cough? Heck, even here at TMVP, I need a punch card for all the questionable burritos I've consumed before going on air.
I must have thought you were. AI mistook you for Pete.
According to the company, it's all about the interruption of work, whether it's for a toilet trip, a snack, or even a nature walk. Now, I love a good nature walk as much as the next guy, but there's a big difference between admiring the Alps and answering the call of nature. The court says there's a loophole in the law, and let me tell you, there's nothing worse than finding a loophole in your belt when you really need to loop your way to the loo. The ruling might have to make lawmakers step in and fill the gap, much like I had to. Well, never mind. So Switzerland, the land of precision and perfection, may have some kinks to work out when it comes to the personal pit stops. In the meantime, let's just hope these workers don't have to hold it in. After all, a watch might be able to run like clockwork, but when it comes to bladders, there's no winding them up again. Stay tuned, because coming up next, we'll dive into Big Daddy Asks.
So when are you guys going to introduce me to Alan?
Alan? Oh, Alan.
You
Alan
guys
Iverson?
keep referencing Alan Iverson all the time, and I haven't met him yet. Is he like one of the writers, or like is that what he's doing?
Yeah, no, he's a writer on there. Yep. AI is a writer on the show. It's exactly it.
We're gonna have to have a game show called Practice.
He'll never show up.
Haven't seen him yet.
All right. What? Oh yeah, Big Daddy asks. That's what we're fucking doing.
Yeah, Big Daddy asks.
Where the fuck did it go?
Oh, you're killing the B block.
I know.
So painful.
I'm really sorry. I had it. Where the fuck did it go?
I've had it too.
Really? But I had it up, and I was sitting there waiting for it, and then fucking Rex Cootermore started fucking talking. Fucking hell. I'm just gonna blame him. Fucking asshole.
Rexy, you don't look as dazed as normal, and you're looking good. Healthy.
Yeah, I can't afford the laundry detergent.
I was going to say, you've been laying off the softener sheets?
The sheets, I'm still on the sheets, but the detergent, that stuff's been going up. See what they get for Tide anymore?
All right, here we go.
A full-length mink coat down to the shins. A big hat as if
You got to rewind that.
Atlanta, and a cane. Am I describing an old lady that I saw at the dollar store, or a pimp I saw strutting down the street?
All right, so you want to hear the beginning part again, Pete?
Yes, please.
Big Daddy asks.
A full-length mink coat down to the shins. A big hat as if going to church in Atlanta, and a cane. Am I describing an old lady that I saw at the dollar store, or a pimp I saw strutting down the street?
Okay.
Well,
Definitely Macklemore.
I'm going to say that it was the old lady.
I'm going with pimp.
Yeah,
Rex?
I'm with you, Professor.
I'm going to go with the old lady.
Macklemore.
Macklemore. All right.
I wear my
So when Big Daddy
incredible.
when Big Daddy joins us, we will get the answer to what that was. But it's not really. It's not a question. It's not a Big Daddy asks type of question.
No, it really isn't.
You know what I mean? And Jimmy's saying a pimp, but it's not a Big Daddy asks type of question. A Big Daddy asks, and I was thinking about this. I was going to bring it up at the show. I'm gonna bring it up with Big Daddy, but just kind of toss it out there right now. You know, let's say you only have enough money for either good cocaine and cheap hookers, or cheap cocaine and good hookers. Which way you go?
Good coke, but good coke, cheap hookers.
Good coke, cheap hookers. Pete?
I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna go with good hookers and cheap coke.
Good hookers, cheap coke. See,
I'm gonna go with good hookers, cheap coke. That's how I discovered
Right on, Rex.
that's how you discovered what?
fabric softener.
Fabric salt. That's
How I got started. You know, I was on the street. I was looking some good coke. Guy
And
said,
you
"Sold me a bag of fabric softener." Next thing you know,
started huffing fabric softeners. All right.
So coke
All right.
was your gateway drug
To fabric softeners.
to fabric softener.
yeah. If I would have stopped at the coke, it would have been all right.
Yeah,
Never
yeah.
marijuana.
But I have a whole introduction there for the ironic.
You do. You do.
Yeah.
Good evening, folks. This week we dive deep into the delightfully dark world of irony. Those moments where fate takes the wheel and drives right off the metaphorical cliff. Sometimes the literal one. Tonight's topic, the 25 most supremely ironic deaths in world history, where destiny decided to sprinkle in a touch of tragic humor. We'll explore how some of the most well-intentioned people met their ultimate demise in the strangest and most ironic of ways. From the man who preached bear love but was, well, eaten by one, to the inventor of the Segway who tragically tested it over the edge. This list is both a reminder that life is unpredictable and that sometimes the universe has a dark sense of humor. So buckle up or don't, like our anti-seatbelt advocate who met his maker in the very way he resisted. This is one journey through history where caution won't protect you from the cruel hand of irony. Let's get into it.
Now, my wife has this talent of going to bed just at the right time, because the first one up is Grizzly Man, eaten by a bear. Timothy Treadwell loved bears. The problem is, bears didn't love him nearly so much. Blonde-haired and a trifle feminine, young Timothy loved animals as a boy, then overdosed on heroin as a young man. I don't see how those two things are related. And subsequently devoted his life to living amongst the bears. Every summer for 13 years, he'd have a bush pilot drop him off amid the savage wilderness of Alaska's Katmai National Park to live among the giant grizzlies. He never got too close to them, but he made up names for them and sang songs for them and filmed them and claimed he loved them far more than he loved filthy humans and their stupid so-called civilization. But of course, it was the end of the 13th year that would prove unlucky for the rabid bear enthusiast. Timothy thought he understood bears. What he clearly failed to understand is that bears are highly capable of killing him, not to mention frequently more than willing to do so. He stayed a week later than normal, as a summer of 2003 started, crashing into the Alaskan fall. During his final days, he was camping out with his reputed girlfriend, Amy Hugengerd. Now, see, this goes into the man. You know, have you ever heard women say, "Would you rather be lost in the woods with a man, or would you rather be lost in the woods with a bear?"
It's true.
Women take the bear, but this bear didn't attack this guy for 13 years till he brought his girlfriend. They're saying he stayed a week later. It was the girl. All right.
I think so.
He mentioned seeing a new bear that for some reason he didn't quite trust. Perhaps it was a new interloping brown bear that devoured Timothy and Amy on the fateful autumn morning as they screamed in vain. Treadwell's camera recorded the sound, but not the video because the lens cap was still attached. What a fucking lazy prick. You don't get a second chance at something like that, man. You know? That's a once in a lifetime, and he fucked it up. Yeah. German director Werner Herzog turned Timothy's tragically ironic story into a brilliant 2006 documentary, Grizzly Man. How brilliant could it be if the lens cap was on? In the film, Herzog listens to the death audio on headphones and decides that not only shouldn't it be included in the film, but the tape should be destroyed. Ah, you pussy. But it appears that the ultra ghoulish soundtrack of Timothy and Amy's death has surfaced online. If you dare, you can hear Timothy and his girlfriend dying screams. And we have a link. So, we're going to pop it into...
I was going to say, the last time I filmed a wrestling match with the Bears, I left the lens cap on.
I think these are different type of bears.
Are they?
I think these are grizzly bears, and what you were talking about are large, hairy, homosexual men. What? I didn't hear what you said.
So not the big hairy black kind?
No.
Oh, well,
yeah.
they could be.
The brown. We're talking about brown ones. And look.
Brown ones, okay.
So anyway, this guy
I
went out.
ran into
and,
a couple of those too. Smelled like curry.
Dude, can you imagine, seriously, a party of 100 lifeguards? There's a party with 100 lifeguards, and this motherfucker drowns.
Wow.
Drown. How is that even possible? So, go ahead.
As the summer of 1985 drew to an end, the New Orleans Recreation Department was so proud that there were no drownings that season at the city's swimming pools. They threw a huge poolside party for about 100 lifeguards, 100 more guests, and even 4 active lifeguards who were assigned to guard the pool and prevent something embarrassing from happening, like, someone drowning to death. But the revelry continued for hours while 31-year-old Jerome Moody, a party guest but not himself a lifeguard, was lying lifeless at the pool's bottom. His body wasn't discovered until the party started winding down. That's awful.
That means the person he came with didn't give a fuck that they couldn't find him.
Well, chances are the person he came with was a lifeguard.
Like, how'd you like to be the guy? How'd you like to be the guy that had to change the sign the next day from like 365 days
without a drowning to 0?
Without a drowning to 0. That guy. Wow.
Well, the owner of the Segway company drove a Segway off a cliff, which is fucking funny. In 2010, the British inventor Jim Hazelden, who purchased the company earlier that year, careened a Segway test model off the road and down an 80-foot cliff to his death. A coroner ruled that Hazelden has died of multiple blunt force injuries of the chest and spine consistent with a fall whilst riding a gyro bike. Oh, yeah, that's how you fucking do that shit.
Like, he could have just ended at fall, but he had to kick that extra part in, the whilst riding a gyro bike.
Whilst riding this stupid fucking thing. I don't want to die riding this.
So, when there's going to be when they're going to off somebody at the prison, an execution, that maybe you get a last minute call from the governor to get your reprieve.
Yeah.
Well, this prisoner escaped the electric chair, but then he accidentally electrocuted himself. After being convicted of sexual assault and murder, Michael Anderson Godwin was sentenced to death in 1983, which in South Carolina in the 1980s was administered via the electric chair. He successfully appealed his sentence and had it changed to life imprisonment. One night, while sitting naked on a wet metal toilet and wearing headphones that were connected to his TV, he bit into a wire and accidentally zapped himself to death on his own makeshift prison cell electric chair.
Wow.
Oh, man. The fact that he was taking a shit just makes it... It's like chef's kiss and the irony.
I mean, it's like karma was chasing him, dude. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, we can't put him in the regular electric chair. Hold my beer.
The universe was like, yeah, you thought you got away with it. Like you thought you got away. Nope.
Well, this poor woman wakes up in a coffin, panics, and dies of a heart attack. Figiliu Muhammadzanov. No, I don't know how to pronounce it either. And probably like you, my eyes just sort of skip over names that are complicated. Was a Russian woman whom doctors had declared dead in June of 2012. But during an open casket wake, she awoke screaming in panic. She was rushed to the local hospital where physicians declared she had died of a heart attack. Can you, dude, you're at a funeral. The bitch wakes up Now they don't fucking embalm people in Russia.
Clearly, it wasn't a thing. Yeah.
I feel like that's important.
No,
You
I
know?
mean,
If not if for no other reason but to make sure the person's dead. You know,
right. But here you don't have to be embalmed. There are religious ways out of that around. You don't have to be embalmed here.
well, I haven't thinking about going for a sleep apnea test.
Uh-huh.
Just to see if I,
See if you have.
see if I have it, but I you got to go through like a sleep research study.
Uh-huh.
And then sleep researchers, they don't,
Could be somebody's cause of death.
Yeah, you could be. Just like the guy, Eugene Rosinski is considered one of the pioneers of modern sleep research and is most famous for discovering REM, rapid eye movement, sleep, in 1953. 45 years later, he slammed his car into a tree north of San Diego. It was suspected that he had fallen asleep while driving.
Yeah, how are those rapid eye movements treating you now?
Yeah, they ain't moving so quick now, are they, fucko? You know what I mean? Watch you go ahead.
Well, I mean, it seems to happen to everybody. This jogging guru died while jogging. With his serial commercials and best-selling books such as The Complete Book of Running, Jim Fixx was the inescapable face of the 1970s jogging revolution. But in 1984, he fell down dead of a heart attack while performing the act that made him famous. An autopsy revealed one of Fixx's coronary arteries was 95% blocked, while another was 80% clogged, and still another was crammed with 70% fatty plaque.
Jesus, he had nothing in him.
Yeah, I mean, clearly he was out jogging, but he was made of fried chicken.
He was jogging the McDonald's.
He was sweating gravy. What is all right? I guess I'm next.
I'm betting a seatbelt wouldn't have helped him though, but seatbelts aren't really helping everybody. Anti-seatbelt advocate killed in car accident. A Nebraska man named Derek Kuiper was so passionate about the idea that seatbelt laws violated his sacred individual liberties, he wrote an opinion column about it. Less than 4 months later, he died in a car accident.
Dude, first of all, it's not that I don't want to wear the fucking seatbelt. It's that you can't fucking make me wear the fucking seatbelt. Fuck you. But now it's like, oh, the car just beeps at you until you fucking put it on. My mom, I bought that car. I got that car off my mom, right?
Uh-huh.
When I got it, the seatbelt was buckled.
Right.
Which means no. Yeah, she buckled it, and then she'd sit on top of the buckle because she didn't.
Your mom wasn't wearing a seatbelt.
No, but purposely. Right. Like by design, wasn't wearing the seatbelt.
Uh-huh.
Well, I don't know if it's like she's just like, well, if it's time, it's time. Like I don't know what the thought process is there. But
how's her driving?
Oh, it's fucking horrible.
So maybe she's got.
No, it's terrifying to ride with her.
You guys want to know a little secret, right? How to get rid of that annoying beeping, right?
Okay.
Very simple. They actually sell them on Amazon. They're seatbelt extenders, and there's two different styles. One is
That's
just
spending money to not wear my seatbelt.
No,
it's just easier to wear.
No. Think of it this way, Maddie. It is spending money to maintain your sanity. Because literally, the thing will just keep screaming at you that you don't have a seatbelt on.
I mean, that's like a motorcycle rider trying to think of ways that he doesn't have to wear a helmet. Like, oh, if I wear a sock on my head, it's not going to help you.
What's next? Are we going to need a license to make toast in my own goddamn toaster?
Goddamn right. It's a slippery slope, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Much like the seatbelt guy, this anti-helmet law advocate dies from a motorcycle accident head injury while proudly riding his roaring Harley down the road with his unhelmeted head exposed to the whistling winds of freedom during a 2011 protest ride against helmet laws. New York biker Philip Contos was flung over his handlebars and onto the sidewalk, where he died of a fatal head injury. A state trooper claimed that a medical examiner told him Contos would have lived if he'd only been wearing a helmet.
You know what? You know what's worse than dying from a motorcycle head injury?
Not dying from a motorcycle.
Not dying. Yeah, dude. Like fucking Gary Busey. That poor guy.
Yeah.
Dude,
Have you seen him on TikTok lately?
I have not. As you sent me something about
Dude.
Busey on TikTok.
Dude,
great.
he's
He's
just
the best.
fucking Gary Busey.
I hope one day I grow up to be like him.
If you want to be Gary Busey.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's a little bit of a rabbit hole, but you got to go check out his reels and his TikToks. He's just as Gary Busey as you want him to be.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, Troy Leon Gregg was beaten to death like you'd want him to be. He was a plucky and wily and crafty convicted murderer who, along with 3 other death row inmates, managed to escape the Georgia State Prison in Reedsville in 1980, one day before Gregg was to be put to death. Unfortunately, that night, Gregg was beaten to death during a bar fight in North Carolina.
Oh,
It was truly Troy Leon Gregg's time. There's no if, ands, or buts about that.
yeah. I mean, whew.
You got the next one?
Yeah, it's about Dennis Wilson. Of the 5 Beach Boys, only drummer Dennis Wilson could legitimately claim the name, for he was the only surfer in the bunch. Late one afternoon in 1983, he drunkenly went diving in Marina del Rey to fetch some items he'd tossed overboard his yacht a few years earlier, and he drowned to death. And the U.S. Coast Guard buried his body at sea.
Not for nothing, but what would you toss overboard that you would need to retrieve later?
I don't.
I feel
Guns.
like when I toss something overboard, it is gone.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't recall what I mean. I used to be somewhat familiar with this story. I don't recall specifically what he tossed, but he went in after it.
It's either drugs or a gun. There's no other. What else
Yeah,
is going back?
there's no other choices really. It's guns or money.
One of my favorite Norm Macdonald interviews is when he's on the Daily Show and he's talking about the crocodile hunter and how pissed all the crocodiles must have been. He's like, who got him, Steve? He's like, no, it's some fruity fish. But Steve, the crocodile hunter, Irwin, was a charismatic, khaki-wearing, danger-seeking Aussie who gained infamy by pressing his luck with all manner of ungodly beasts. His luck ran out in September of 2006 while filming an episode of Ocean's Deadliest. Well, I mean, kind of proved it, right? In the
Right.
Great Barrier Reef, an 8-foot, holy shit, an 8-foot wide stingray struck him several hundred times with its tail spine. It pierced his heart and he bled to death.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys want to watch that?
Not really.
All right.
That fish might want to get a lawyer. This lawyer acquits his defendant by shooting himself to death in court.
I mean, if it works,
Or
it
if ever
works.
Benny.
Clement Valendigum.
Valendigum.
Clement
Valendigum.
Clement Valentine.
Valentine. Clement Valentine was a valiant and noble Ohio lawyer who in 1871 defended a man named Thomas McGeehan on murder charges. Valentine's theory was that the victim had actually shot himself while in a kneeling position. To demonstrate that this was physically possible, Valentine recreated the event in the courtroom using a pistol he thought was unloaded. To his extreme brief dismay, it was loaded, and he accidentally shot himself to death, proving his legal theory and leading to his client's acquittal.
Now, one of my favorite stories of ironic death is number 14. The man proves glass window is unbreakable by falling through it to his death. For most accounts, Gary Hoy was a brash, confident Toronto lawyer, perhaps too brash. One day in 1993, as he had allegedly demonstrated so many times before, he showed a group of visitors that the glass window on the 24th floor office was unbreakable by running headlong into it. Unfortunately, this time the window popped out of its frame, and Hoy fell to his death in an act of auto defenestration. That's right, auto defenestration, because to defenestrate someone is to throw them out the window.
Okay.
We have a word for throwing somebody out the window, but we don't have a word for the day after tomorrow. The glass, however, did not break. So technically, he proved his point. I wonder if they just like hosed all his guts and shit off the
window and put it back.
The window and just put it right back.
I bet the window probably broke when it hit the ground.
How?
No, it did not break. It's what it's saying.
It didn't break when he hit it. I'm sure it broke when it.
The last line that AI provided, and
when did that happen?
Don't accuse Alan of
93.
Yeah, you want to look it up, Pete? Go ahead.
No. I was just thinking, do they have cell phone cameras then? Because can you imagine like the window company going, "Hey, not for nothing, but did anybody get some footage of that? Like we that'd make a great ad."
Ship captain killed by a cannon that was firing in his honor. This is an old one.
In the salty old year of 1794, somewhere off the Hawaiian Islands, Captain John Kendrick's ship, the Washington, fired a 13-gun salute at another ship called the Jackal, which saluted back. Unfortunately, one of their cannons was actually loaded with grape shot, killing Kendrick as he sat at his table on deck. Whoops. Grape shot. That's shot the size of a grape. That's pretty big.
Yeah. That's like, take your head right off. Especially if it comes in a close pattern. I know it's supposed to spread, but
I mean that effectively turns a cannon into a shotgun, a giant shotgun.
Do you think if you were to read your own obituary, you would have a stroke?
Probably not.
Well, this motherfucker did. Marcus Garvey was a pioneering black nationalist with a penchant for wearing extremely complicated hats. What does that have to do with fucking anything? As the story goes, he died in June 1940 when he suffered 2 strokes after reading a negatively slanted premature obituary of himself in the Chicago Defender. Written in the January of that year, the obit claimed that Garvey had died broke, alone, and unpopular, which proved fatally upsetting to him.
Wow.
Good fucking Lord.
Oh, well, good Lord is probably who Keith Relf saw when he electrocuted himself with his guitar. Keith Relf is best known as the singer of British invasion band the Yardbirds, which spawned the legendary guitarist Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and Jimmy Page. One day in 1976, while practicing in his basement, Relf accidentally fried himself while playing an electric guitar that had been improperly grounded.
Yeah, if you ever walk up to an improperly grounded microphone?
Yeah.
That zaps you right in the lips.
Yep.
Oh. Well, a radiation pioneer dies radiation.
Yeah.
Madame Curie is the first woman to ever win a Nobel Prize and is still the only woman to ever win it twice. She discovered polonium and radium, but unfortunately spent so much time dabbling in radioactive materials that she fatally succumbed to aplastic anemia.
Maddie, I was in a polonius relationship once.
A polonium?
A polonius. She discovered polonium.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think you mean polygamous.
Polonimus, right?
Polonimus. Polygamous, Rex. Polygamous.
Polonimus. That's what we called it.
Okay.
When I first met my ex-wife, she said she was Baptist.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, so you like handle snakes and shit?"
to demonstrate your knowledge of Christian sex.
That's right. The Gospel of Mark clearly states that believers in Christ will be able to pick up serpents without being harmed. And the almost entirely Caucasian Pentecostal phenomenon of snake handling is perhaps most vibrant in the tiny, beautiful state of West Virginia. Even though Mac Walford's father had died from picking up serpents, Mac forged ahead to prove his faith in the Lord. After surviving 3 bites on 3 separate occasions, he fell dead from a fatal rattlesnake bite in May of 2012.
You know, I'm just going to say it. I mean, these people don't learn. His dad was killed by a snake.
Right. His dad didn't believe.
Oh.
Not as hard as he did, dude.
Sure.
See, this is what happened when my parents told me that Santa Claus doesn't exist anymore. I thought my parents just lost faith. So for the next 17 years, I wrote letters to a fictional bearded man in the North Pole.
He's not fictional, man. Santa's real, dude. Don't fuck around.
I've seen him peeing on Christmas trees.
Yeah. This one's not nearly as funny. You know, a lot of them have been some pretty funny ironies, but an oven repairman roasting to death in an oven sounds horrifying.
Well,
he didn't deserve that. He was just a dude that did stuff.
It gets worse, though. 2 days before Christmas in 2010, a 54-year-old Liverpudlian named Alan Catterall entered a giant industrial oven that baked plastic at 280 degrees to make kayaks. He sought only to make a minor repair, but the oven's operator, his future son-in-law, Mark Francis, accidentally locked him in and flipped on the switch. While burning to death, Catterall screamed for help, but the sounds were muffled by the factory's industrial noises.
One of the things I thought was Mark Francis his future son-in-law before this? Or did he kill Alan Catterall so he could fuck his daughter?
You have to wonder.
Well, Rex Scootermore wasn't my first name.
Oh. It has nothing to do with ovens. But what are you trying to say, Rex?
I'm trying to say there might have been 6 or 7 other lives I have lived before this life. Don't you see the white hair?
Yeah.
I say I'm in my 40s. I might be like Matumbo. I might be lying.
It's weird, Rex, because there's like there's like moving hair right next to you. There's all this hair, and it's like a caterpillar. Oh, it disappeared now.
Do you have any grandchildren, Rex?
What?
Do you have any grandchildren?
At least a couple dozen.
Get a good head count, because sometimes you can lose them. The grandson of Golden Gate Bridge suicide barrier advocate jumps to his death from the Golden Gate Bridge. As a longtime member of the board of directors for San Francisco's Golden Gate District, John Moylan had agitated tirelessly to erect suicide barriers on the Golden Gate Bridge, which to date has been the site of at least 1,600 suicides. In 2014, 6 years after the barriers were erected, Moylan's grandson Sean successfully evaded the barriers and jumped to his death from the bridge.
Ha! They don't fucking work, ass. It's like this. They don't work as all. Well, this woman dies during a dying in consciousness seminar, which I have no fucking idea what that means. But in 2011, a 35-year-old Canadian woman named Chantal Levine participated in a detoxification seminar called Dying in Consciousness that involved her to be daubed in mud, wrapped up in plastic, and swaddled in blankets, and having her head placed in a cardboard box for 9 hours. She wound up being cooked to death after her body temperature raised to 105 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Sounds
Fucking
like
terrible.
a blue steak.
Well, some people get shot. This guy's father shot him with the gun he bought to protect his father.
Yeah? Everybody
Yes.
remembers this one.
Yeah, soul singer Marvin Gaye possessed a rare talent, but he also hailed from a family that was unusually dysfunctional. Having developed extreme paranoia due to insufflating an estimated $1 million worth of cocaine, Gaye took to wearing a bulletproof vest on stage and surrounding himself with armed bodyguards. For Christmas 1983, he gave his father a .38 pistol, ostensibly to protect himself from those who sought to prey upon the Gaye family fortune. 4 months later, after a violent domestic scuffle, his father used that pistol to fatally shoot his son.
You know, it's not very fair. Everyone's always out to get the gays.
Hey,
Everybody's against the gays. You know, they can't let the gays alone.
But this was a gay on gay crime.
Gay on gay crime. You know, and they say Project 25 is bad.
do you do you know what Marvin Gaye's last words were?
Let's
What?
Marvin Gaye and get it on.
Well, here it is. Ready? Hey, what's going on?
Oh, God. What's going on?
I stole that joke.
Uh,
I'm not going to tell you who from, but that's a stolen joke, but I was waiting.
health food pioneer dies on live TV. That's what you want. You want to buy the food from the guy who's dying right in
Who
front of you.
fucking died on live fucking TV?
Jerome Irving Rodale earned a fortune as the publisher of numerous health food books and prevention magazine. During a taping of the Dick Cavett show that never aired, the 72-year-old Rodale allegedly told
man.
the host that I never felt better in my life and that he intended to live to be 100. But he died of a heart attack while that show was taping.
You don't always get what you want, but if you try sometime, right? If you try,
You get what you need.
sometimes you just might find you get what you need. You know?
Yeah.
Pro drunk driving comedian killed by drunk driver. Now, here's the thing. Sam Kinison had jokes
Yeah.
about drunk driving.
Jokes.
He wasn't pro drunk driving,
Right.
You know,
Well,
in
there's
1978, it was just called driving.
right?
There's a difference between jokes and real life.
Right.
Jokes are entertainment. Jokes are things to make you think. And and chuckle. Real life is what we live out here, and life is not a joke.
Right. Although he did make the joke, if you want to make a woman come, lick the alphabet. And that is sound advice.
That is sound advice.
So, take that for what it's worth. But that is, it's because it's Halloween month. And I wanted to, do something spoopy. So, bang, 25 most ironic deaths ever in recorded history, at least. And I had a good time doing it. We've got an hour-long B block. I think it's time to bring it to an end, man.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the B block on episode 207 of the Media Virus Podcast. We will be back with an all-new Rex Kudamore Presents Step Family Feud right after this.
We don't really have any bumpers of Big Daddy.